Good morning, good morning, do 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 do. Good morning to you. Good morning. Welcome to a daily dose of joy. We are here to dose our brains on the fly throughout the day and starting our day together in solidarity. Because it's a new habit for a lot of us to keep turning towards joy, to pause and think, okay, let me laugh for a little while. Let me sing for a little while. Slowing down the sort of pace of the rat race, right? That can see modeled around us, a drive, push, push, push. An expansive, dynamic life is wonderful. And at the same time, we want to stay engaged with our deeper truth, our inner calm, our joy and ease. So practicing these habits all throughout the day helps us do that. And we are rising together. This morning, I have some very fun Whoopsie Daisy stories for you guys. So the Whoopsie Daisy tool helps us recalibrate our brain, change the way we perceive adversity and discomfort and inconvenience, the ones that just weave through the day so that they don't become a way of priming and practicing being stressed. So the first, I've had two doozies that have really given me a chuckle lately. Just thinking about them makes me laugh. All right. And remember, this is like a laughter flow. So you can choose to laugh. Maybe you'll spontaneously laugh. Mostly I'm modeling for your mirror neurons how to see things in a certain way that helps you find the humor, and kind of modeling for you guys, telling the story, repeating the story, which does all sorts of wonderful things. So that's the Whoopsie Daisy tool. All right, so here we go. Yesterday, was it just yesterday? Day before yesterday, I took my 34-pound puppy, 5-month-old puppy almost, but big puppy, to get his final vet vaccines. And it was a very exciting day because once all the vaccines are done, he'll be able to be out in the world more. But they recommend that you don't have them walk around where all the other dogs are walking until their vaccines are fully activated. So I'm carrying this big puppy, and I get to the car. We've got the appointment done. Everything's gone great. We get in the car, lumps over to his side, and getting ready to put the key in the ignition. And all of a sudden, the car starts filling up with water. It is raining in my car. And I don't mean a little. It is like water is collecting on the dashboard and dripping. Water is collecting all over the steering wheel and dripping down. It is getting on the windshield. It's getting on my side window. It's just water, water, water inside my car. Like somebody turned on like one of those fire extinguishers in a movie that goes off in the office building, and it's just, and I'm looking all around and my brain is trying to make sense of this. There's rain in my car, profuse, powerful. Where's this coming from? And I'm like, I have a little squirt hand sanitizer bottle, and I'm like, did it explode? Is it exploding? Like, what is creating all this? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, is the puppy peeing? Because obviously I've been vigilant and concerned about that. So I'm like, did it get trapped and somehow it's propulsion now? Really, I just was like, what is going on? My brain is like just reaching for anything, trying to explain it's raining in my car. And so I'm looking around, and finally I realize between his little paws is a can of LaCroix. So I had a can of LaCroix full can of LaCroix bubbly water on the floorboards. And when, in the few seconds before I got in, he had gone over it, picked it up off the floorboard and gone and sat up and bitten into it and created this propulsion of carbonated water that was spewing out, but it was coming from between his paws. So you couldn't quite see where it was coming from. I mean, it was hysterical to see me. When I found it, I was like, oh. And I pick it up, and it's like the tiniest hole. And I put my finger over it, and it just stops raining in the car. It's still dripping. Almost the entire content of the can is now diffused all over the interior of the car. But it's so funny. And I'm sitting there laughing. So then the next thing is I'm laughing, holding this can. He's like, what's going on? And the people coming to their car parked next to me, you see all this water dripping inside the car. And then see me laughing so hard. And so at first they look alarmed, and then somehow it telegraphs that they start laughing. Oh, internal showers. The mystery of the auto irrigation. Okay, so that's just one of my Whoopsie Daisy stories of late. The other was also sort of an engineering thing in a way. It was an innovation at the very least. For my birthday, I got a little, not really a manicure. They like buff them, they shine them, so you don't have to have the polish remover later on. As it's just one of those things that I love and do other self-care things for myself, but manicures haven't been one of them. But I was like, oh, this is really nice. Was there any time when my cuticles are all wet and I could do, because they're like, oh, after your leisurely bath, I'm like, not having a lot of leisurely baths at the moment with a puppy and a teenager doing my wonderful dynamic life. So I was like, how can I be clever about this? So I was like, oh, I came up with this idea of a kitchen sink manicure that, like, because I'm doing dishes for a while and my hands are wet, or we all wash our hands a lot these days. And I'm like, oh, I could just, take a little, they call them orange sticks, strangely, but they have these little things to massage your cuticle. And then they have an emery board to file your nails. And then they have a little thing to buff them. And so I put those 3 little items in my cabinet just to the right of my kitchen sink. And I thought, this is clever. Like, I might actually be able to have a little kitchen sink manicure every now and then. So then, later that day, same day that I kind of set up this new system, a friend was by who is in and out of the house all the time. Like, she's super familiar. We're very comfortable and familial. And so she also loves matcha green tea or matcha lattes, and I have a whole setup. So in that same cabinet to the right of the sink, I have my little whisk for my matcha green tea powder, and I have a little milk frother. And so she was in the kitchen making her stuff, and she'd only done it like one time before. There's also all sorts of other things in the cabinet for making teas, and she usually is a coffee drinker and a herbal tea drinker. So she decided that morning, unusually, to make a matcha green tea. And she walks out of the kitchen, and in her cup is the orange stick, the little cuticle stick. Because she had just reached for something. She thought it was the stir for the green tea, for the matcha green tea. She also is not super familiar with manicure instruments. Because there are some wooden instruments for the matcha. I was just grateful she didn't put the emery board in her tea. It's Whoopsie Daisy. Oh, balance wobbles. Some of them are just flat out funny. Some of them are inconvenient. Some of them are wobbles that, oh, really, you have a moment of, ah. I have a character I call Lizard Woman, and it's just, I imagine myself as this creature with claws and teeth. Because life can do things with it. Anger is an appropriate emotion, and figuring out how to be with it and fully not resist it and be present to it, but with it in a healthy way. And so, yeah, I think not for either of those, but they're definitely Whoopsie Daisy stories that rank more on the scale of like, something really went wrong. That's a pain in the tuchus, and I'll just give myself a few minutes to just sort of embody this angry, and I'll just kind of claw at the air, and it can feel really good to move that through. And then I'll start looking for the humor, and often it's laughing even at myself. Or laughing at this kind of very funny image I have in my head when I'm embodying my anger. It becomes funny. It's fierce. It's fierce when I'm in the angry part. But then as that shifts or becomes just something to be with, it becomes more humorous. Anyway, I hope these ideas will help you just find the joy when life gives you a wobble. Let's take 3 gentle breaths in solidarity. May today surprise and delight us. And look forward to this time tomorrow. Bye.